Clash of Clans is a massive game with tons of different features, but sometimes you question some of these features and ask why they're even in the game. And today we'll be going over some of the most useless features in Clash of Clans, with the first one being the army camps and the builder base because, well, you don't even train any troops over there. In the normal base, the army camps serve a purpose because it is a place for your troops to go after they have been trained so they can wait for battle, and so you can see exactly which troops you have and how many there are. In the builder base, however, you don't really even train any specific troops. The ones in your army camps might not even be the ones that you take into battle, since you can swap these troops out at any time before starting the battle. And in the builder base, you have 6 army camps, even though you can hold way less troops than the normal village, which has 4 army camps. In the builder base, you can have a max of 24 barbarians, while in the normal village, that number is over 300. So overall, the army camps just don't make sense in the builder base, and it is also extremely similar for the clan capital, which you can say is even more absurd since you don't even see the troops in the camps even though they're full. The next useless feature is the whole recruitment system that Supercell added after removing global chat. This is because it is just extremely basic and really hard to find good candidates for your clan. There's no way to filter out things like rushed bases, and having the trophy filter can rule out some really good players that are maybe just dropping trophies for a variety of reasons. And the 3 labels are also not very useful in my opinion. It doesn't fully help you understand the player and know whether they're a good fit for the clan. All of this was added because Supercell removed global chat, which used to be a really good way for recruiting players. Now, players just tend to use things like Discord and recruiting forums to find people instead of the in-game recruiting feature due to how useless it is. The next feature is something that is a little controversial, but personally I think the 1-day scouting period for clan wars is pretty useless. The only thing it may be helpful for is just kind of knowing what you're up against, but you would find out either way on War Day. And the other thing is filling up the defending clan castle troops, which I think is something that can easily be done before even finding an enemy clan to war with. Typically, when it comes to scouting, the whole purpose of that is to develop a strategy and figure out what you're going to do. But when it comes to clan wars, the enemy base completely changes into their war base, basically make the whole scouting period not mean anything. This is because the attacking strategy for the base you scouted could be completely different from the war base your opponent is using. This makes the whole scouting period pretty useless and essentially just makes you wait a whole day for nothing. The next feature is the whole buying and selling things for gems, and let's start off with the buying first. When you don't have enough resources to upgrade something, you get the option to buy the rest of the resources with gems, and this obviously seems normal, except that the price is extremely high. When you compare it to the prices in the shop, you can see how it is a complete ripoff, and that makes it a completely useless feature, as people would rather just fill their storages from the shop and then upgrade whatever they want instead of paying so much extra for the exact amount. And the whole selling items for gems is also a massive ripoff. When you can't store things like potions or books, you have the option to sell them for gems, which is often way lower than what it would cost to buy them. And when it comes to selling excess resources, it is even worse. At this point, it is almost like the game is mocking you because it will offer you a max of 5 gems even if you're selling like 10 million gold, which is obviously a massive ripoff compared to the prices in the shop. The next feature isn't fully useless, but definitely needs major improvements, and that is the revenge button. It's obviously a really great feature to be able to attack the people who attacked you to get some revenge, especially if they took a lot of resources or used some sort of cheap attack. But oftentimes, you can't really even get revenge because a person has shield or guard, or sometimes it's even online. And you could literally scroll down the entire list of people who attacked you while clicking on the revenge button, but never actually be able to get revenge on them. This makes the button pretty misleading, as you would expect to be able to attack them. I think the best way to make it more useful is for the button to only pop up if you're actually able to attack the person, or make it so it shows an indicator as to how long it will take until they run out of their shield or guard. or perhaps even make it so you can revenge raid anyone regardless of their shield status, as that would definitely make it a bit more interesting. The next useless feature on the list is the Supercell Support. It definitely had to be on this list due to how useless their support is. The biggest reason for this is because it is pretty much just fully automated with an AI chatbot, and you can't ever really seem to reach an actual human being, and even if you do, they're extremely unhelpful and it seems like they don't know what they're doing. Many people have had so many different problems with Supercell Support that I'm surprised they haven't even changed anything for the better yet. In fact, they've made contacting them even harder since they shut down the Supercell forums, which used to be one of the best ways to voice your opinion in the community and to interact with people who actually worked on the game and had control over certain things. The forums are responsible for some of the troops added to the game, such as the Witch. But now if you were to even give an idea, you often don't hear anything back and can't determine if anyone at Supercell even saw your idea or suggestion. Supercell Support really feels like you're talking to a brick wall at times, and is why it is one of the most useless features in the game. The next feature is the leaderboard system for the My League section. All other tabs show the best players and clans from around the world, and is a very useful thing to look at, but then you have the My League section. I have no idea how this thing even works or how to pick which players to show, but it just shows players around your trophy count. There is no sort of benefit to knowing this information, and I don't see how it would help anyone, or if there is even anyone who looks at it. You don't get any sort of prize or anything for being at the top of the My League section, since it really just doesn't matter and serves no purpose. Overall, it just really seems like a pretty pointless addition to the game, and is why it is on this list, but now let's move on to the final feature. This is the Gravestones that scatter around your base after someone attacks you and their troops die, and this is useless for a number of reasons. First of all, not every troop that dies actually gets a gravestone, and it seems to be kind of random as to if there is going to be a gravestone or not. It more seems like the gravestones depend on the number of troops that die, with more troops leading to more gravestones in a certain area. And I know you get resources when you tap on the gravestones, but that really just doesn't make a difference. There's never going to be a situation where the elixir from the gravestones is going to be beneficial in any way. Plus, they also act like obstacles, meaning you have to click on them to get rid of them if you're switching layout and something is obstructed. This obviously isn't a big deal, but it is just one of those really inconvenient things that just makes you really annoyed. But that's it for this video. Let me know if there are any other features you would want included in this list in the comment section below.